What's up, guys? Welcome back to Raising the Rogers Homestead. So, today we are getting ready to do some meat chickens. Now, we've got everything set up. I've got the truck running right now. I got to run and get some ice real quick, and we'll be ready to roll. The only thing that I have to do is heat up the water, and once we get the water heated up, we are ready to go. I've got hoses hooked up. We've got everything ready. Right now, I've got it covered. I went ahead and covered everything last night. That way we didn't get no bird poop on it because the daggone birds like being up in the roof of this building. I don't actually see a single bird or any poop on that tarp, but if I hadn't have covered it, they would have all been in here and it would have all been covered in poop. So if you've got a tip for that, let me know. How do I get them out of the building and make them stay away? Um, we've tried various things. Just nothing seems to work. But anyway, I just brought my tools out here. When I say tools, I mean processing tools, knives, things of that nature. I put new lights on the back of my house, and they're like stadium lights. Like you can see, oh, the camera really doesn't do it justice, but you can see all the way back into the field. The sheep are back there chilling. I don't think you can see them. Man, I was really hoping you'd be able to tell a lot more, but you can't. But anyway, enough of that. I'm gonna jump in the truck, run grab some ice, and then come back and start putting ice in the coolers. We could probably get away with not using ice. It's still getting relatively warm during the day, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some ice. But probably don't need it because right now it's 33 degrees, and I'm not ready for cold weather just yet. But it's here. Okay, you stay right here. I'm gonna run to the store. I'll be right back. Want to come with me? Let's go. It's gonna be kind of dark, but you can definitely ride. No problem at all. Come on, you're letting all the heat out. Are you gonna shut the door? Let's turn some lights on so we can see a little bit. So since we're in the truck, headed down to go get some ice, let me uh, let me tell you a story, a little uh, a little conversation that I had with a friend of mine yesterday. He has he has some hay ground that he's leasing right now, and his thought process behind the hay ground is that the person that's renting it from them or from him and his wife, that they're just making all kinds of bukudos of money, and they're basically missing out on some money because he's charging whatever X amount, and if he makes so many rolls of hay and he sold those, then he can make this amount. But I tried to explain to him the struggles with making hay and how expensive it is to make your own hay. And likely, if he's leasing that land, he's probably just cutting hay for his own stuff, so it's not benefiting him that much. Uh, but anyway, we had that conversation, and then he was talking about maybe not renewing the lease and getting some cows because he was like, we'd like to raise our own meat for our family, and that's all fine, well, and good. I'm a proponent for anybody to do that, but the more and more I do this, and when I say this, I mean homesteading, farming, whatever you want to call it. Uh, the more and more I do it, um, the more and more I learn about what works and what doesn't work. And I mean that's with anything in life. So my advice to him was, if you want to raise a beef, by all means, raise a beef. I'm not telling anybody to not raise beef. So get that straight. There's our lease. See them lights up there on that barn? I put them up too. Pretty cool. Anyway, so I completely lost where I was. Wow. Anyway, I'm just gonna go back to where I think I was. Um, the more and more I do this, the more you figure out what works, what doesn't work. Oh, by all means, raise beef. I think that was the last thing I said. Anyway, so I told him, I said, so what's your goal? Are you wanting to raise beef, or are you wanting to put meat on the table for your family? And he was like, well, I want to raise our own meat because the grocery store is so expensive. Okay, so if I were to give someone advice, and this is what I told him, hey, y'all can take it or leave it, whatever. But if I was going to give somebody advice, if you want to produce protein on your farm or your homestead, the first thing I would do is chickens. That's the very first thing. Not laying chickens, meat chickens. Because oh dear, please stay on that side of the road. Thank you. Um, because you get them, you you can turn them around in 8 weeks. You put them in your freezer. I mean, these we've got exactly 40 birds to do. We started out with 42, I think. Started out with 42, and we're processing 40. So that's pretty dadgum good. We only lost two, and I think we lost them both in the brooder. Uh, I'd have to verify that with the kids, but if I remember, I'll ask. But I'm pretty sure we only lost two, and we lost both of them in the brooder. But anyway, uh, that's the quickest, fastest way to get meat on your table. Now, just to give you a ballpark idea, so we're gonna be doing 40 chickens, and I'm gonna lowball it because I know these guys are huge. They're super fat. So I'm gonna lowball it and say that they average 7 pounds a bird. Now I know we're gonna have some nines. We're probably gonna have some tens out of this group, and we had some out of the last group too. So if they average 7 pounds per bird, and I'm doing 40 birds, that's like 280 pounds. 280 pounds of meat that's going to go in my freezer. Now, that's carcass weight. We can whittle all that out or whatever. Say it's 200 pounds. That's a ton of meat. So you're going to pay, anywhere from a dollar 90 to $2.40 a chick. That's roughly what you're going to pay from a hatchery. And then your feed costs. So you figure each bird, uh, the way that we figure it, each bird eats 20 pounds of food per bird for the life of that bird. So if each bird has 20 pounds of food times 40 birds, that's 800 pounds of food. The stuff that we feed a chick starter from beginning to end. We don't transition them to corn or change their food or anything like that. Give me just a sec. I got to pull out on the highway, and It's very, very dark. I love tinted windows, but not when it's dark outside. There you go. All these people come from. I think some of them had something to do, stay at home or something. Anyway, so uh, you're going to go through roughly 250 pounds of food for 40 birds. Uh, like I said, we have a chick starter that we run from end to end. Good lord. Uh, so it's not it really is not a whole lot cheaper than the grocery store. Um, but it's protein dense food, nutrient dense food that you raised yourself. You know what went in them, and there's no question about how they were raised. I'm backing in here. Hold on. But there's no question about how they were raised, and you get to put that meat in your freezer. That's the quickest way. Now, secondary to that, going back to the conversation that we had, secondary to that, beef is great. Everybody loves beef, except for vegans, and we're not vegans over here. Um, but if I was wanting to produce pounds of meat for my family and the shortest amount of time possible, I would start out with chickens, and the next thing I would get is sheep. Sheep can finish off in less than a year, um, where your beef is going to be, 18 months, 20 months, depending on what you feed them. Now, if you're more of a grass based operation and you're not pumping feed to them, it's going to take you 18 to 20 months to get a good, I'm talking about a 900 to 1,000 pound animal. Sheep, however, you could get you 4 or 5 sheep. Number one, you go out and buy a calf right now, beef prices are so high. You go out and buy a calf right now, you a 200 pound calf is going for about $1,500 in my area in Middle Tennessee. So you're going to pay about $1,500, and then you got to raise that dude for, I don't know, say it's a couple months old. Um, you're going to have to raise it for at least 14 months, 15 months to get a decent size carcass out of it. A sheep, however, say you went out and bought 5 ewes in our area, that's going to cost you anywhere from $150 to $200. Let's say $200 on the high end. That's $1,000. Okay, you go out, $1,000. You buy 5 ewes. You get those 5 ewes bred. Those ewes could potentially produce 10 lambs. Those 10 lambs, you could get them up to 100, 120 pounds in about 9 months, 10 months, strictly on grass. No, not grain fed, just strictly on grass. So you don't have the input as far as grain is concerned, and they finish out in less than a year. So you could buy the ewe could carry that baby for 5 months, and in less than a year, you can have a bunch of lamb to eat. And in my opinion, and it may be an unpopular opinion, but lamb is just as good, if not better, than beef. I said it. I said it. Anyway, sorry for the rant. I got to go get ice. Oh, crap. I forgot about those T-posts. Uh, don't have to worry about anything melting. All right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, my hand. Okay. 9, 10. All right. All right, got the ice. We loaded up. We headed back to the house. So the scenario that I presented about the sheep, um, the only reason I say buy 5 ewes, so you're gonna have roughly the same amount of time between breeding and raising that those lambs or whatever if you get the 5 ewes. But comparatively speaking, if you have a mama cow and then you have to breed her, you have to wait 9 months, and then 15, 18 months after that before you can eat that offspring. Sheep are just so much faster at turning those things around. Now, on the other side of that, you could just, oh bunny, you could just go out and buy some ram lambs or some wethers or whatever, and you're not going to have much time in them because you can buy them weaned at 3 months or so, and then you've got 5-6 months raising them, and then you're butchering them. And you can do that every year. If you can buy some, even if you bought some bottle babies. Say you bought them early in the year. Say you bought them January, February. You're going to butcher them before it gets cold outside. Uh, and that's whether you take them to a processor or you do them yourself. So that leads me to my next thing is number one, sheep in general are it's a lower point of entry, so they're way cheaper than buying one cow. Uh, they're just a lot cheaper. Number two, a lot of times they can throw twins, even triplets, and beyond that. Uh, but the point of entry is way lower, and for anybody to just start out with cows is it's a little bit of a risky thing, just simply because they're large animals, and if you've never been around them, don't know how to handle them, so on and so forth, it's you've got to have larger facilities to maintain them. Uh, if you've got to get them up and say you got to get them preg checked, or you need to get them up because they've got a hurt foot or whatever it is, they're just a lot more to handle than a sheep. A lot of times, sheep, if they've got something wrong with them, you can go out there in the field and you can grab a hold of them and carry them wherever you need to take them. Um, Hold them between your legs. I mean, we don't have a head chute or a catch pin or anything like that for our sheep because we've never needed it. Um, they're super gentle, super friendly, and even if you have a ram that is a jerk, he can hurt you, no doubt he can hurt you, but it would be far fetched for him to do something that would be detrimental to your life. A cow, on the other hand, if you're standing beside that cow and it slings its head after a fly or something and hits you, uh, you're down for the count. There's a guy that I follow on Facebook and on YouTube or whatever, the Hoof GP. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that guy before, but he trims cow hooves. And he had, I forget now how many it was, but it was a bunch of stitches all across his face, all because he walked beside a cow that was in a head chute and it slung its head and it hit him in the face. And he doesn't even remember what happened. He just remembers waking up and having stitches in his face. Like, it can happen that fast. With sheep, you don't really have to worry about that. Also, you would have to be on your hands and knees for them to hit you in the face with their head. Oh, I don't know. It's just morning thoughts. Anyway, to wrap up those morning thoughts, just in conclusion, if I was going to start over, I would start with meat chickens and sheep. That's where I would start. I figure we're going to have anywhere between $400 and $500 in uh, in these 40 chickens. $400 or $500 per batch that we do. We usually do 2 batches a year of 40 or 50. And I mean, if you got $400 and 40 meat chickens, what's that? $2 a pound? Don't hold me to that. I don't. Morning math is not my strong suit, but you tell me when the last time you went to the grocery store and you bought wings for $2 a pound, or boneless, skinless chicken breast, or leg thigh quarters, or heck, really anything, I guess. Because you got to remember, it doesn't just end at the chicken. We still make chicken stock with it. We have all the skins and everything from doing the skinless breast. That gets cooked down and made into dog treats. I mean, it goes a long way. And I mean, we're a family of 6, and we'll butcher anywhere from 80 to 100 chickens a year, and that will get us through. So the chicken that we did, the first batch we did during the spring, we're almost out of that chicken, but we'll do this batch and it will carry us all the way to our next batch in the spring. And that's not solely eating chicken. Obviously, we've got a beef in the freezer, we've got pork in the freezer, we've got lamb in the freezer. So, just a thought. I got to get started. We got meat chickens to do. The sun is just trying to start coming up. Thanks for going with me, though. Kind of got that off my chest. I feel better. All right, first things first, I got to get this tarp off without tearing everything down. So well, I knocked the pot over, but I think that's all I knocked over. Knocked over my gut bucket. All right. Turn on some water. Good morning, little one. How do you feel this morning? Good.
Have you already went to go get ice?
I did. Is anybody else awake?
William is.
Okay. I'm gonna unhook the fence so I can plug this up. Don't tell the animals. We got Plucker.
You want me to go fix you some coffee?
No, I already had coffee.
Oh.
Sun's starting to come up. Julia's letting the dogs out. But I wanted to talk a little bit about our setup here. So I wish that I would have turned that on before I went to go get ice. And the reason for that is, so generally these little burners, they have a regulator on them that you can open and close, make the flame bigger, smaller, whatever, heat up faster. I had to take that off uh, because I got a 100-pound cylinder. So I had to take it off. So I had a thing here, and I was thinking that I could control it with that regulator that's on it, and that's not the case. So it just it just is what it is. It just burns where it burns. So hopefully we're able to get that up to temperature, but it's not even 120 degrees yet. So that's going to take a minute. But so our step through here, so chickens are there. They'll go to the cone. From the cone, they'll go to the scalder, from the scalder to the plucker, from the plucker to ice bath. So they'll stay in that ice bath. We'll probably do 4, 5, or 6 in that ice bath. They will then come out of the ice bath, come to the eviscerating table. I've got a gut bucket on the other side. Got a small bucket there for the livers and whatnot, and then I got a big bucket down here for the feet because we keep the livers in the feet. And then from there, they'll go into the coolers. So I got 10 bags of ice. I used 7 of them. So the other 3, I'm hoping we've got room for in the freezer somewhere. But as of now, we're just waiting on the water to heat up. Once the water heats up, it will be game on. Where's it, Waylon? Where's your boy? All right, guys. So yesterday I did quite a bit of filming, time lapse video whenever we were doing meat chickens. Well, my camera died, and now I have none of that footage. But I did film just a little bit of cutting them up today. So we still got some more to cut up. It's the next day. It's evening. It's honestly it's a little bit later than I wanted it to be, but I had some prior obligations that I had made, so I had to fulfill those before I could get my own stuff done. We are almost done with the meat chickens. We still got to finish getting them cut up. I don't think we have that many left. Maybe 20, 25 left to cut up. But we had to take a break and do chores real quick. But sorry I wasn't able to get footage of actually processing the meat chickens. Like I said, I had, gosh, probably a couple of hours worth of time lapse and different clips and stuff like that. Camera died, didn't save none of it. It's all gone, every bit of it. But I hope you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from as far as the meat chicken standpoint is concerned. I know that for somebody who's never done meat chickens, it seems really far fetched, really out of reach to do something like that. But guys, it doesn't take that much. I mean, if you've got a small front yard, you can raise meat chickens for yourself, and I think it's beneficial both in putting meat in your freezer and also it's cost effective. Obviously, you don't have to raise 40 meat chickens at once. You can do 10. You can do 5. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's scalable on both ends of it. But anyway, guys, I got to get back to the house. We've got to finish up these meat chickens. I appreciate y'all stopping by, Raising the Rogers Homestead. If you could, like this video, subscribe to our channel if you're not, and until next time, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks.